Well, on an interesting note, we'll take a look at Nigeria and peacekeeping. On the aspect of conflict resolution, enhancing a peaceful and better or prosperous Africa, it is incumbent on Nigeria as a major economic power in Africa to show leadership by taking responsibility. The nation of Nigeria is expected to show leadership at all levels. It is said, to whom much is given, much is expected. If the Nigerian would spend $8 billion to secure peace in Liberia, then it will be right to ask, how much has Nigeria done to ensure that justice is served to the oppressed peoples of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia? We understand that the Cross River State Governor and some local authorities in eastern Nigeria have been working along the UNHCR to provide some succor to hundreds and thousands of displaced persons fleeing the war-torn Ambazonia into Nigeria. That's laudable, but is that sufficient? Your answer will probably be as good as mine. Like the culture of world superpower is, one would expect to see on the headlines more proactive moves from the Nigerian government on the parties involved in the conflict. The exact same way the entire world in Africa was concerned about the previous presidential elections in Nigeria reveals how much the African society and nations are looking up to Nigeria to set the pace, not just in democracy, but in the collective development of an emerging Africa, and most especially to set the pace when it comes to a decent policy in Africa. An Africa that can provide hope for the future in a world that's full of many troubles. Based on available data, the Federal Republic of Nigeria might be disinclined to ensuring that the peoples of southern Cameroon gets justice in the 7 years long with the French Republic of Cameroon. It would interest you to know that southern Cameroons happen to be one of Nigeria's closest neighbors, and their history are intricately linked to each other. If Nigeria could spend this over $8 billion for Liberia to secure peace, what is stopping Nigeria from making some efforts to ensure that not just peace be returned to southern Cameroon, their closest neighbors, but also justice? Is Nigeria ignorant of the danger that awaits the entire Gulf of Guinea if this war prolongs?
A few weeks back, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Leo Rabo, disclosed that the Nigerian government spends $8 billion to restore peace in Liberia. He disclosed this while delivering his keynote remark at the event to mark the 75th-year celebration of the United Nations peacekeeping operations. Since the first engagement of troops of Nigerian armed forces in the Congo in 1960, Nigeria has been unequivocally committed to the principles and objectives of the United Nations. It has significantly contributed to 41 peacekeeping operations worldwide. Ever since, over 200,000 Nigerian troops have served in UN peacekeeping missions worldwide, and Nigerian senior military officers have commanded some of these missions. Similarly, under regional and sub-regional cooperation, Nigeria has been involved in peacekeeping operations in field missions in Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Liberia, Mali, Darfur, and Sierra Leone, and also has contributed a lot in terms of finance, logistics, troops, and civilian experts, making her one of the most significant African troops and civilian police contributions to UN missions. It is noteworthy that in addition to the loss of lives and injuries to personnel, the ECOMOG, a regional interventionist mediation force, advocated to end the protracted Liberian civil war and was operated at an estimated cost of $8 billion to the Nigerian government.
Well, General Irabo noted that Nigeria's active participation in peacekeeping missions had helped save countless lives and restored peace and stability to many countries over the decade. A great feat there. But why haven't we seen their input in ending the war in both Cameroons? General Irabo mentioned that despite the security challenges occasioned by the activities of non-state actors and other criminal elements that have besieged the country, the armed forces of Nigeria and the police have continued to contribute troops to sustain the country's commitment to the United Nations.
Also speaking at the occasion, General Martin Luther Agwai, who was the Special guest of honor noted that the UN peacekeeping had been a unique and dynamic instrument to help countries in conflict transition to lasting peace. He said more than 2 million uninformed and civilian personnel have contributed to the global effort to secure peace and progress across the world since 1948. In his words, he says, as we celebrate this milestone, let us reflect on the past and look to the future. We must work together to enhance our collective efforts towards global peace and security.
Well, on the part of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, he paid tribute to those who lost their lives while securing peace across the globe. In his message to the occasion, he said, in carrying out this essential work, many peacemakers have paid the ultimate price. More than 4,200 peacemakers have lost their lives serving under the United Nations flag. He says, we stand in sympathy and solidarity with their families, friends, and colleagues, and will forever be inspired by their selfless devotion to the cause of peace.
Well, this is not the first time Nigeria has been involved in peacekeeping in Africa. ECOMOG, which was formal arrangement for separate armies to work together, was largely supported by personnel and resources of the Nigerian Armed Forces, with sub-battalion strength units contributed by ECOWAS members.
Now, remember a few years back when ECOMOG reported that its strength was about 8,430 troops, organized in 10 self-contained infantry battalions. Facts hold it that the government of Nigeria contributed the bulk of the force with 4,908, and troops were also provided by the government of Ghana, which gave 1,028, in Guinea 609, the United Republic of Tanzania 747, Uganda 760, and Sierra Leone 359. Smaller contingents were also provided by Gambia 10 and Mali 10.
Well, we have seen Nigeria support other African nations and offer intensive help militarily and financially to foster peace in countries who are lacking it. We have also seen Nigeria go even across its continent to make inputs and contributions to aid other wars from it, like the war in Ukraine.
Well, while we wonder for Nigeria's support in other warring countries, like Liberia, that they just offered $8 billion to secure peace there, what we wonder is, when will they start offering as much intensive help to restore peace in the Cameroons? Or will they say they have any justifiable reason for not acknowledging the war and being their brother's keeper? Well, while the answer to these questions remain oblivious, we'll do our best to bring you up to speed vis-a-vis the world's involvement in the Ambazonian struggle of liberation.